Hi everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. Tonight I'm coming at you with another end of season review. This time it's going to be the Parramatta Eels 2021 NRL season review. The club finished in 6th place on the table after the regular season. 24 matches they played, 15 wins, 9 losses, 566 points they scored, 457 they conceded, which is the 4th best defence in the league this year. They averaged a home crowd of 20,694. That's before COVID struck Australia yet again. Mitchell Moses was the top point scorer with 146 points. Micah Sivo was the top try scorer with 17 tries. Going into this year, Parramatta were once again expected to make the finals. You had the likes of the so-called experts, and when I say that, Daily Telegraph, Fox Sports, Fox League, those type of people, your Jamie Sowards, they all predicted Parramatta to finish between 5th to 8th. I think there was only one of them that predicted Parramatta not to make the top 8. But everyone expected Parramatta to make the finals, but they didn't really expect them to do much. They just expected them to just be there because a lot of people said, look, they've got the squad to make the finals, but can they actually do something with that squad? Well, previous seasons have shown that they cannot do that. But in the off-season, the club recruited a lot of players, actually. And those players were Bryce Cartwright, Keegan Hipgrave, both from the Gold Coast, Joey Lussick, Makahezi Makatoe, Michael Oldfield, the ultimate reserve grader, Tom Opacek from North Queensland, Isaiah Papali'i from New Zealand, and also Hayes Perham was from New Zealand, and Nathaniel Roach. So we went on a bit of a spending spree there, getting the players from New Zealand. At the start of this year, I did a 2021 Parramatta Eels signings video, and I went through the new signings, and you can watch that. I think pretty much my predictions for all the signings were correct in terms of how their season went at Parramatta. But going into this year, it was a bit of a tricky draw to start off with, but Parramatta got off to a great start. They won their first 4 games in a row, and they almost made it 5 in a row, but lost to St George 26 points to 12. That was a very disappointing performance there at home. The club then won 5 matches in a row to sit second on the table towards the half point of the year, and people kind of went, could this be a year that Parramatta actually go deep into the finals and do something? By round 16 though, once again as we'd seen in previous years gone by, 2020, 2019 and 2017, Parramatta suffered a bit of a slump. They lost narrowly to Penrith 13 points to 12. That was after the full-time siren there where Mitchell Moses just missed the kick. Then there was the bye, and in round 18 there was a win over the Gold Coast. It was quite a comfortable win, but it was also a win where people kind of went, their attack's looking a bit flat and they're not really playing as well as they did earlier in the year. And as that turned out, once again, another slide. So, as I just mentioned, 2020, 2019, 2017, the Parramatta slide continued. We sat 4th after the win over the Gold Coast, but then we lost 4 matches in a row. And some of those losses were actually quite ugly. Losing to Eastern Suburbs 28-0. We lost against South 40 points to 12 and Manly 56 points to 10, which I think was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a Parramatta side. We then managed to steady the ship. We got a win over the North Queensland side, and probably one of the best performances I've ever seen from a Parramatta side ever. We come up against a Melbourne side who had won 19 games in a row. They were looking to break the record against that was held by Eastern Suburbs in 1975, and we come out and played one of the games of our lives, and some of the games of these players' careers. I think we ended up winning that match 22 points to 10, and people kind of went, a Parramatta back, and I think a lot of the fans went, Parramatta's back. We rested pretty much our entire team for the last round against Penrith, where we got battered. In the week 1 of the finals, we played up against Newcastle, 6v7. We won that game. It was a bit harder than what I think most people expected, but Parramatta got the job done there. And unfortunately, For the third year in a row, Parramatta exited the competition at the second week of the finals. They lost 8 points to 6 against Penrith, and I think the toughest and most brutal match of the year, defensively speaking. Both sides, the defence was really on point. It was a great semi-final match, but Parramatta fell just short. And I look back at that game and I go, if Reid Marnie was there, of course Reid Marnie was out for the rest of the year. There was no recognised hooker. Would he have made the difference? Because Ray Stone there winning the Paul Carriage Award with an awful performance at Dummy Aff. I know that's not his position, but he really messed up. And as a result, Parramatta bow out at the semi-final stage. Looking at some of the best wins of the year though, if I'm looking back at some of the performances that I think Parramatta fans can look back on with a big smile. Round 2 against the Scum, 16 points to 12. A great performance there. Round 6, 35 points to 10 victory over Canberra down there in Canberra, where Parramatta don't have a good record. Round 13, they beat Newcastle 40 points to 4 on Newcastle's old boys' day up there. All their former players were walking around with their coats on going, yeah, we fucking beat yous 20 years ago in the grand final. And then we went out there and we fucking battered the fuck out of them. And round 24 against the Scum again, as I just mentioned, 22 points to 10. I think some of the Parramatta players played the game of their lives and it was a great day out. Worst performances of the year, you've got that match against St George, round 5, 26 points to 12. Round 20, getting battered 28 and out against an Eastern Suburbs side that was pretty much the North Sydney side in a way. They had a lot of North Sydney players in there. Round 21, losing against South Sydney, 40 points to 12. And then getting battered by Manly, 56 points to 10 with 2 players sent off. I think, Ryan Mattison was sent off and Nakora was in the sin bin. Looking at 2022 though, and some positives and other things, at the end of 2021, Parramatta were officially the best supported club in Sydney. They had, as of September 2021, 32,376 members. They overtook South Sydney to be the best supported Sydney club, and they sit just behind Brisbane in terms of memberships to be the second most supported club membership-wise in the NRL. Also, Brad Arthur was signed on until 2024 in a contract extension. I think a lot of the Parramatta fans were divided on this contract extension. Some were in favour, some were against. Me, myself, I thought that Brad Arthur would be there till the end of 2022 and then there would be someone else to come in and replace Brad Arthur, but the board has decided to give him till 2024. Time will tell to see whether this is the right decision by the board or not. There's also a lot of off-contract players coming up at the end of 2022, 2023. The board has to sort that out because the likes of Reid Marnie need to be tied up. Recently, Regan Campbell-Gillard re-signed. I believe Nathan Brown re-signed. But there's some other key players that must be re-signed if Parramatta is to maintain their place in the top 8 and perhaps compete for the premiership. I think for next year, one thing about this year that showed itself again was at times the defence on the edges was quite poor. I think it's something that once again Brad Arthur and the defensive team and the players are going to have to work on. Also, hopefully everyone stays injury free in 2022, because we saw when the likes of Reid Marnie weren't there, it really hurt the club, and when Mitchell Moses and some other players were not there, it really affected results. I think Parramatta need to also work on their attack in the off season, because at sometimes it becomes predictable. In terms of an early prediction for 2022 for Parramatta, at this stage I'm going to reserve a prediction because there's still a lot of contract negotiations that need to happen in the summer. There's a lot of players that we don't know where their futures are going to be yet. The club's released a few players this year: Blake Ferguson, Joey Lussick, Michael Oldfield, Sam Hughes. The club hasn't been active in the transfer market yet. They haven't signed anyone. They haven't declared that they're interested in anyone yet. So that's another reason why I'm going to reserve judgment. But I think if this Parramatta side can stay together and all these players can stay, definitely for 2022 and beyond, I see Parramatta making the finals. I'm not too sure if they're a premiership contender, but in terms of making the finals, they'll definitely be there if they can maintain this squad. I think for Parramatta to be a premiership force, to actually do something in the finals, they're going to need an X-Factor player. If you look at the other sides that have won premierships in the past, they've all got X-Factor players. And Parramatta's got a good squad, but no X-Factor player like a James Tedesco or a Trebojevic or someone like that. Parramatta just don't have that. With the way that the salary cap's going, I don't think that they'd be able to afford one unless a lot of players left and it freed up a lot of space. So I think in the future, if Parramatta can stay together with this team, they can keep making finals. But in terms of winning the premiership, they need that X-Factor player. But anyways, everyone, that's me 2021 Parramatta Eels season review. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts on Parramatta's season. So this is Rugby League History, signing off. Now catch us all later in the next video. Alright, tatty bye for now.